And give a big Merseyside welcome to Jeremy Corbyn!
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here today in this fantastic Derby Park. And thank you to our comrade candidates for the European Parliament. Can we Yay! And Richard Bergen, MP, come over from Leeds. Dan Carden, where are you, Dan? And Metro Mayor Steve. I miss Steve telling me what to ask David Cameron. Every time I was thinking up some deeply intellectual question to put to Cameron, he said, go for his effing ankles. Very sound advice, actually. So, today we're in Liverpool campaigning for the European elections, but also with a very particular message about the dangers to our society, not just in Britain, not just in this city, but all across Europe and indeed the wider world, of the danger of the rise of the far right and their simplistic answers, which can only breed hatred and division. And Liverpool is a most amazing city. You all know that. You know the achievements of the people of Liverpool. You know the way they've stood up against adversity, the way they've always sought a community solution to collective problems, never an individual solution climbing on the back of somebody else. And that is surely that great tradition of Liverpool, the strength of the trade unions, the strength of the labour movement, and that whole argument about how we go forward in society. In the 1930s, unemployment was massive all across the country. The rise of the far right in Germany was very obvious, what was going on. The rise of the Nazi Party and what was happening in Germany was very obvious. The fascists were on the march in Britain as well. Mosley tried to march through the East End of London, and a combination of Irish and Jewish workers got together with the support of tens of thousands of others and stopped him in his tracks. The same thing happened in Stockton in the northeast and happened in many other places. Community action against them. And in Liverpool, one of your great sons of this city realised what was going on, but also saw what was happening 1,000 miles away in Spain, where the fascists had come from Spanish colonies, landed in Spain, and Franco, aided, abetted, armed and funded and financed by the Nazis, was marching through Spain to try and defeat the dream of the Republic in Spain, led by socialists of all hues. That man went to Spain to fight for the International Brigade. That man went to Spain in order to stand up to defeat the Nazis in Spain, that they would be defeated all across Europe at some point. He realised that danger, as did many others from Liverpool, from Glasgow, working class men and women who joined the International Brigade to go to Spain. That man was Jack Jones. He saw what that danger was. No further discussion. But he made this incredible speech about how people come together, enjoy each other's differences, enjoy each other's cultural diversity, and enjoy an iftar supper, enjoy a supper in a synagogue, enjoy something in a church. There's lots of things you can do together. It doesn't have to be religious either. It is about people coming together. When I read the propaganda being put out by the far right in this European election, where they're blaming Muslims for all the ills of our society, change that language to the language that was used in Germany in the 1920s and 30s, where they tried to blame Jewish people for all the ills of society, for the inflation of the Weimar Republic and all that, then you begin to see where this leads to. And so we've come together today, not just to oppose the far right, but also to analyse what's happened, and above all, how we fix it and how we go forward. Because this country has become economically the most divided country in Europe. 9 years of Tory and Lib Dem government have resulted in tax cuts for the very richest, has resulted in the slashing of expenditure to local government by about 50%, has brought in universal credit and the desperation of debt as a result of it, and has created a homelessness crisis like I've never seen in my lifetime. And it's getting worse. When children go to school and have to beg the teacher for something to eat, when a head teacher from Richard's area in Leeds describes a child following another to pick up the apple core out of the bin to eat the remains of the apple the first child hadn't quite finished. That, in modern Britain, the 5th richest country in the world, something is very badly wrong. We can afford lots of things, but we cannot afford these levels of inequality. And so this lot, this Tories and Lib Dem coalition partners, up until 2015, they're the ones that slashed the spending to local government, they're the ones that underfunded health, they're the ones that mean so many people are living in such poverty. And they very calmly blame somebody else for the crash of 2008 and the austerity that came with it. I just say this to them: that crash was not caused by greedy nurses, wasn't caused by street cleaners demanding a pay rise, wasn't caused by the unemployed, wasn't caused by those who couldn't afford to pay their rent in the private rented sector. It was caused by out-of-control bankers ruining the economy of this country and so many others. And so, when we got ready for the leadership campaign of 2015, to me, we had to be clear. We, the Labour Party, have got to be a party that is challenging austerity and challenging the whole narrative that you make. Listen, I'm an Arsenal supporter, it's fine. But if they stay home and the far right go out to vote, under this strange electoral system that European elections have, you're actually giving support to the far right because you're strengthening their position in order to gain somebody being elected. It's that important. So when you're campaigning, please encourage people to vote and to vote Labour. Because what we're offering is something very different to our society. An investment-led economy with a national investment bank. Peter's going to be having a big hand in that, so you better be nice to him. And that investment bank will be for national projects, but also be regional transformation funds, so that the needs of the Northwest, the needs of rail networks across the north of England will be dealt with, will be funded and will be developed. And will develop those high-tech green industrial revolution jobs all across the country. So we challenge the whole problem of climate change by investing in green technology, which provides jobs, skilled work, and a real future for all of us at the same time as reducing the levels of pollution and damage to our natural world and our climate. Those are the kind of imaginative policies that Labour has developed. And will develop a national education service. And that's going to be the legacy of the next Labour government, a national education service. So we do a very simple thing. We do for education what the post-war Labour government did for health. They took the commodity out of it and inserted the right to health. We'll take the commodity out of education and insert the right to education. The right to a free school meal, the right to a decent family school, the right to their music, the right to an apprenticeship, the right to go to college, so you can make your contribution to society to the best of your ability. Because denying people those chances actually damages us all. That's why We are Labour, that's why we're socialists, that's why we believe so strongly in what we're doing. And so when we campaign, we are getting a lot of abuse thrown at us by the mainstream media. Sometimes they even say unkind things about me. I cannot believe it. They've even been unkind about my cat. Be rude to me, but not my cat, you know, please. And they go on and on about it because they're trying to divide us, they're trying to destroy us, they're trying to weaken us. Well, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because we know what we're doing in the unity we have. And so when they say the division is between those that voted Leave and those that voted Remain in 2016, I put it like this. There are people who live in areas of London that voted overwhelmingly Remain in that referendum. They're poor, they're living in private rented accommodation, they're having difficulty paying the bills, they're struggling with universal credit, they're in insecure work, they may even be on 0 hours contracts, and their school is underfunded. There are people living in areas that voted overwhelmingly Leave that are going through exactly the same problems in their lives. We bring people together to confront the austerity programme, to confront the Tories and the Lib Dems. And in our proposals to Parliament, we recognise what the result was. We also recognise that there has to be trade with Europe in the future. People may have voted Leave, they didn't vote to lose their jobs, they didn't vote to have unregulated food, they didn't vote to open up our economy to Donald Trump and his agenda from the United States. And so we put forward all those alternatives, and we will continue to put them forward in Parliament, and I'm quite happy there should then be a public discussion and decision on them in the future. But above all, it's about protecting and improving working class living standards all across this country and ending the disgrace and the misery of poverty that stalks our land, the 5th richest country in the world. People say, well, all right, you're all alone on this. No, we're not. Look at the agreement that's been reached by socialist parties across Europe for the Europe-wide manifesto on a minimum wage across Europe, on investment across Europe, on ending austerity across Europe. Look at the socialists in the United States. Yes, the socialists in the United States. The wonderful AOC, Bernie Sanders, all our friends over there. People that I call my friends, who are challenging exactly the same
Come on, ladies and gentlemen.
Live in a world that can survive, deal with the great challenges of the world. You only do it by coming together. You only do it by pooling our minds, our brains, our energy, our imagination, and our resources. But if instead we allow the right, the far right, in Europe to mount once again the spectre, the scourge, the hatred of anti-Semitism in Poland, in Austria, in Germany, in Hungary, we allow them to mount the spectre of Islamophobia in France, in the Netherlands, or in this country, then we are weakening. We have to stand together for the kind of world and kind of society that we want to live in. Liverpool is a city of people from all over the world. Liverpool is a city that's been a sanctuary for people from all over the world. And yes, there is the whole history of Liverpool and the slave trade. But Liverpool understands that. That's why there's a museum on it to educate our children as to the reality of that history. So when we're out campaigning, it's important that we get this message across. Young people brought together with the idea that there is hope for them in the future is surely what it all has to be about. I am fed up with politicians all over the world saying to young people, oh God, you're going to have a hard time. You're not going to have the pensions. You're not going to have the health service. You're not going to have the free education in the future. You're going to be worse off than your parents.